If you're over 65, I want to tell you something important, something that many people just don't talk about enough. Every day, little choices we make without even thinking can quietly add up. Things like skipping a walk, not drinking enough water, or eating something quick just to fill the stomach. These don't seem dangerous in the moment, but over time, they can silently increase the risk of stroke. And here's the thing, stroke doesn't always come with a warning. It can happen while you're sleeping, sitting at the table, or even standing in the kitchen. That's why it's so important to understand what's really happening inside our bodies, not to scare you, but to help you take back control. The good news is that stroke isn't something we're helpless against. In fact, up to 80% of strokes can be prevented by making small changes at home. So if you've ever wondered what more you could be doing to protect your brain, your heart, and your independence, you're in the right place. This video is for you. Before we dive in, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Drop your city or state in the comments below. I always love seeing how far our community is reaching. Point 1. The right breakfast can calm inflammation and protect your brain. Now, I know many people at this age have been eating the same thing for years. Maybe toast, maybe cereal, maybe just a cup of coffee and that's it. But here's what most folks don't realize. After 65, your body becomes more sensitive to things like inflammation, blood pressure, and blood sugar spikes. And your first meal of the day, the one that sets the tone for your energy and health, can either help your blood vessels or quietly harm them. One of the biggest hidden dangers is low-grade inflammation. You can't feel it, but it can slowly damage the lining of your arteries, raise your blood pressure, and even lead to the kind of blood clots that trigger a stroke. That's why breakfast matters. It's not about having a big fancy meal. It's about choosing a few simple foods that fight inflammation and give your brain the steady support it needs. Let's talk about what that could look like. First, healthy fats. Walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds are powerful. They have something called omega-3s, and studies have shown these can lower your risk of stroke by over 25%. Just a tablespoon of chia seeds in your morning oats is enough. These seeds also give you fiber, which helps clean out cholesterol. Then you've got berries, like blueberries, raspberries, or blackberries. These little things are packed with antioxidants that protect the walls of your arteries. Eating them just 3 times a week can cut your risk of stroke significantly. Add a few spoonfuls to your oats or yogurt. They taste good and they're doing something powerful inside your body. And finally, whole grains, especially plain oats. Unlike white bread or sugary cereals, oats give you soluble fiber, which helps pull bad cholesterol out of your system. A half cup of cooked oats gives you around 4 grams of fiber to start your day strong. Add a few nuts, half a banana, and a little cinnamon. Maybe a spoon of plain Greek yogurt for protein. That's it, your blood vessels will thank you. Point 2. Why staying hydrated is more important than you think. You might think, I drink when I'm thirsty, isn't that enough? But here's the thing, after the age of 65, our bodies stop giving us clear signals about thirst. You could be dehydrated and not even feel it. And when your body doesn't have enough water, it starts to affect your blood. It becomes thicker, and that makes it harder to flow. Thicker blood means more pressure on your arteries and a greater chance for clots to form, and clots are one of the leading causes of stroke. In fact, studies show that more than 60% of people who arrive at the hospital with a stroke are dehydrated. That's not a small number. And this doesn't happen just in hot weather. Even in winter, or sitting indoors with air conditioning, your body still loses water every day, through your breath, your skin, and even just while digesting food. So what can you do? Keep it simple. Keep a glass or bottle of water within reach. Start your morning with a full glass, before the coffee. Drink another before each meal. Another in the afternoon. That alone can give you 4 to 5 cups right there. If you're active, or it's a warmer day, you'll need a bit more, maybe up to 8 cups. If plain water feels boring, add a little lemon, cucumber, or a sprig of mint. You can even enjoy herbal teas like chamomile or rooibos, which are naturally hydrating and caffeine-free. Speaking of caffeine, we'll talk more about it later, but just know that too much of it can actually pull water out of your body, making the problem worse. A lot of drinks that look healthy, like flavored waters, sweetened yogurts, and bottled teas, are full of added sugar. That sugar doesn't just raise your blood sugar, it also pulls water out of your cells as your body tries to balance it. That's double trouble, more inflammation and less hydration. Point 3. How a 10-minute walk after meals can improve blood flow and lower stroke risk. Not an intense workout. Not a jog. Just a gentle, 10-minute walk after breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You don't even have to leave the house. You can walk around the kitchen, go up and down the hallway, or take a stroll around the yard. The goal isn't speed, it's movement. And it makes a real difference. Here's why this matters. After every meal, especially ones with carbohydrates like bread, rice, or pasta, your blood sugar naturally rises. That's normal. But as we age, those sugar spikes tend to last longer and go higher. And when sugar sits in the bloodstream for too long, it creates inflammation, damages your blood vessels, and adds pressure to your heart. That's not what we want. But research shows that walking for just 10 minutes after eating can lower those spikes by as much as 20%. That's because your muscles use up some of that sugar right away for energy, instead of letting it sit and cause trouble. It's like giving your body a little helping hand, using food instead of letting it pile up in your system. But that's not all. Walking also boosts circulation, lowers blood pressure, and clears the mental fog some people feel after meals. It supports balance, joint movement, and overall brain health, all of which are important in preventing strokes. Here's the best part: you don't need a treadmill or a walking track. Just walk at your own pace. If it's cold outside or your knees aren't feeling great, do laps around your home. If you feel steady, step out into the fresh air. You can walk while chatting with a friend on the phone, or even while tidying up the living room. Make it part of your routine, just like clearing the table after dinner. Point 4. Why cutting back on salt can protect your blood vessels and lower your stroke risk. That little shaker on your table might seem harmless, but too much salt over time can quietly raise your blood pressure, and high blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for stroke. You might be thinking, but I don't use that much salt when I cook. And that's fair. The real issue isn't always the salt you add, it's the salt that's already hiding in the foods you buy. Over 70% of the salt we eat comes from packaged foods, canned soups, frozen meals, deli meats, bread, and restaurant dishes. Even things like flavored cereals and veggie chips can be packed with sodium. Here's the reality: older adults should aim for no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. That's just about 2/3 of a teaspoon. But most people in the US are getting over 3,000 milligrams a day, without even realizing it. Over time, that extra salt stiffens your blood vessels and forces your heart to work harder, which increases your stroke risk. The good news? You can still enjoy flavor without depending on salt. Nature has given us some powerful options. Garlic, for example, has natural compounds that help lower blood pressure. Herbs like rosemary, thyme, oregano, and basil can add richness and aroma. Spices like turmeric not only taste good but also reduce inflammation. Even a splash of lemon juice or a bit of apple cider vinegar can brighten up a dish without adding sodium. If you like roasting vegetables or making soups, try seasoning them with garlic and olive oil instead of salt. Use fresh herbs to enhance the taste. Your taste buds will adjust, usually within 2 to 3 weeks, and what once tasted bland will start to taste just right. Start small. If you usually sprinkle salt out of habit, pause and taste your food first. Cook one meal a day from scratch. Reduce your usual salt by half and increase flavor with herbs. Little changes like this can lower your blood pressure and give your arteries the break they need. Point 5. How better sleep can protect your brain and reduce stroke risk. At this stage of life, getting good rest is more important than ever. But it's not just about how many hours you sleep. It's about the quality of your sleep and whether your body is truly getting the rest it needs to heal and reset. Many strokes happen at night or in the early morning, often without warning. That's why your sleep routine could be more connected to your stroke risk than you realize. Here's what happens when your sleep is poor or irregular, meaning you go to bed and wake up at different times, or you toss and turn all night. It throws off your body's natural rhythm. This rhythm, called the circadian rhythm, helps control your blood pressure, blood sugar, and stress hormones like cortisol. If your rhythm is off, those levels go up, and your stroke risk goes up with them. There was a study that followed over 30,000 adults, and those who had irregular sleep schedules had a 22% higher risk of stroke, even if they were getting enough hours of sleep. That's why having a regular bedtime and wake-up time is key. It tells your body when to wind down and when to prepare for the day. That kind of consistency helps keep your blood pressure steady and your brain protected. Another important point is caffeine. Many older adults enjoy a cup of coffee or tea in the afternoon. But as we age, our bodies process caffeine more slowly. That means even a 3 p.m. cup of coffee could still be in your system at bedtime, keeping your brain alert when it should be slowing down. If you're having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, try stopping caffeine by 2 p.m. and see how your body responds. Instead, try herbal teas like chamomile or lemon balm in the evening. These are gentle, soothing, and caffeine-free. Also, dim the lights an hour before bed, turn off screens, and let yourself wind down. Read a book, listen to soft music, or just relax. Deep, restful sleep isn't just good for energy, it gives your heart and brain the time they need to repair and restore. Point 6. How checking your heartbeat at home can help prevent a stroke. Let's shift our focus to something you might not think about every day, your heartbeat. Not the feeling of being out of breath after a walk, but the actual rhythm of your heart. Because one of the most overlooked causes of stroke in people over 65 is something called atrial fibrillation, or AFib. It's a condition where your heart doesn't beat in a steady rhythm. Instead of a regular thump-thump, it might flutter, skip, or feel like it's racing, and this irregular rhythm can increase your risk of stroke by 5 times. Now, here's what makes this tricky: many people with AFib don't feel any symptoms. It can be completely silent. But even if it doesn't feel dramatic, it's still dangerous. That irregular heartbeat can cause blood to pool in the heart, and when blood isn't moving the way it should, it's more likely to form clots. If a clot travels to your brain, that's when a stroke can happen. The good news is, you don't need a hospital to check your rhythm. You can do it yourself at home. Just sit down, relax, and place 2 fingers, your index and middle, on your wrist, just below the base of your thumb. Press gently until you feel your pulse. Count the beats for 15 seconds and multiply that number by 4 to get your heart rate. But don't just focus on the number, pay attention to the rhythm. Does it feel steady and regular? Or is it uneven, with skips or pauses? If it's irregular, or if you've been feeling strange symptoms like a fluttering in your chest, shortness of breath, unexplained fatigue, or dizziness, it's time to talk to your doctor. They can run a quick test called an ECG that checks your heart's electrical signals. It's painless, and it can give you peace of mind. This small habit, checking your pulse once a day for a week, could give you an early warning sign before anything serious happens. It's not about becoming a doctor yourself. It's about listening to your body. Your 2 fingers, a quiet minute, and some awareness could be all it takes to catch a hidden risk and protect your future. Point 7. How meal prep can make stroke prevention easier and more consistent. Let's talk about food again, but not about what to eat. This time, it's about how you plan your meals. Most people don't eat unhealthy food because they want to. They do it because they're tired, busy, or simply don't feel like cooking something from scratch. And when that moment comes, when you're standing in the kitchen, low on energy, it's easy to grab whatever's fast. But sadly, what's fast is usually high in salt, sugar, or processed junk that raises stroke risk. So how do you avoid that trap? By preparing your meals in advance. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't even have to be a whole week's worth of food. Just a few simple, healthy options ready in your fridge can make a big difference. This isn't about dieting. It's about making good choices easier, so you don't have to think or stress when you're hungry. Here's how it helps. It removes the need to decide in the moment. You already have something healthy ready. It keeps you consistent, because every day you're eating something that supports your heart and brain. And it reduces temptation, because when a healthy option is right in front of you, you're less likely to reach for something harmful. Let me give you 2 easy prep ideas you can try this week. 1. Fruit and nut salad cups. Chop up some apples, pears, or grapes. Add a few blueberries, a sprinkle of walnuts or almonds, and a pinch of cinnamon. Store these in small containers in the fridge. Great for breakfast or a snack, rich in fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fats. 2. Overnight oats jars. In a small jar or container, mix half a cup of rolled oats, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, half a cup of almond or oat milk, and a few frozen berries or banana slices. Let it sit overnight in the fridge. Ready to eat in the morning, no cooking needed. It takes maybe 10 minutes to make 3 to 4 servings of each. Put them in clear containers so you can see them easily when you open the fridge. Keep a small list of go-to items like oats, berries, eggs, olive oil, and herbs on your fridge, so shopping becomes easier too. Point 8. Why staying social isn't just good for the soul. Most people focus on eating right, exercising, or taking their medications. And yes, those are all important. But studies now show that feeling lonely or isolated can quietly increase your risk of stroke, too. In fact, people who are socially isolated have up to a 32% higher risk of having a stroke. That's a serious number, and it has nothing to do with food or fitness. It has to do with how connected you feel. Here's why it matters. Loneliness raises your body's stress hormones. It increases inflammation, raises blood pressure, and makes it harder to stick with healthy habits like walking, drinking enough water, or eating balanced meals. And if you do have a health scare, being alone during recovery can make it harder to heal, emotionally and physically. But here's the good news: building connection doesn't have to be big or complicated. You don't need a huge group of friends or to go out every day. Even just 1 or 2 people you regularly talk to or spend time with can make a world of difference. Start simple. Maybe there's a walking group at your local senior center, or a gentle yoga or Tai Chi class at a nearby church or community hall. These kinds of activities are great not only for movement but for meeting people in similar situations. If getting out of the house is difficult, you still have options. There are many online groups for older adults, places where people share health tips, encouragement, and even just daily check-ins. And never underestimate the power of a phone call. Talking to a friend or family member once a week, even just for 10 minutes, can lift your mood and remind you that you're not alone. Point 9. The 5-minute weekly habit that could save your life. Think of it this way: you wouldn't drive your car for years without checking the oil or looking at the dashboard. Your body works the same way. Especially after age 65, it's important to know what's happening inside before a problem shows up on the outside. And you don't need to be a nurse or a tech expert to do this. You just need to pay attention, a little at a time. Here are the key things to track. Blood pressure, aim for below 130/80. Pulse/heart rate, know what's normal for you and watch for changes. Cholesterol levels, especially LDL, the bad cholesterol. Blood sugar, even if you're not diabetic, a rising trend can be a red flag. Weight and waist size, extra belly fat is linked to higher stroke risk. You can jot these down in a small health journal. If you don't check all of them at home, just write down what your doctor tells you after visits. Also, make a habit of noting how you feel. Were you more tired than usual this week? Did you notice dizziness, headaches, or changes in your vision or balance? These small notes help your doctor see patterns, things you might not even connect, but that matter for your long-term health. Don't forget, your eyes, mouth, and gut are part of the picture, too. Blurry vision might mean rising blood pressure. Bleeding gums can point to inflammation. Digestive issues can affect how well your body absorbs nutrients that protect your brain, like B vitamins. So don't skip your eye exams or dental visits. Mention any stomach issues to your doctor. This tiny habit, just 5 minutes, once a week, gives you back a sense of control. It brings everything we've talked about full circle. Because stroke prevention isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware, staying involved, and making choices that protect your future self, one small step at a time. Stroke prevention doesn't have to be complicated, just thoughtful, steady habits done with care. You have more power than you think to protect your brain and live well after 65. Start with one small change today, and don't forget to share this video with friends and subscribe for more simple, life-saving tips.